Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house? Finance or
Yeah,
insurance?
that's right. We are live on a Saturday morning. Great to have you with us. I see you.
Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim Paola and Johnny C. Live on Real Radio.
Yeah, that's right. We are live on a Saturday morning. Great to have you with us. I see you out there. Nice to know you. Getting ready for your 2 hours of infotainment. That's right. We'll take you up until 11. And YouTube. That's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook.
Great to see you out there.
You have your free download, your iHeartRadio app. That means you are worldwide. You're a little far away from us. But nice to know you're there. And of course, we live stream every Saturday morning. Find us on Facebook and YouTube. That's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube. Come up a ton of information, a ton of videos, plus our live stream every Saturday morning. Thanks for being with us right at the gates. You're welcome to join us toll free. If you got a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate, want to dive into the conversation at hand, do just that. Dial up 877-927-6969. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, Jimmy, my brother from another mother. How you doing?
Doing all right. Good morning, Johnny. How are you today, bud?
I'm doing all right, dude. Nice to see you as always. See you as well. Johnny C, that's me, your old buddy, your pal, your air traffic control. Let's get your starting lineup on a Saturday morning. It's always nice to say good morning. AJ Holman with Appraisers.com. My friend, how are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing fantastic today.
Look at you all on camera and everything. 13 plus years now, so nice to have you in on Saturday. Make sure you're using that microphone straight ahead if you can.
All right.
He is remarkable what he does and everything. He runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Of course, our fearless leader, who also is going to have to get into that mic. But I've told him for like 13
I think if you just give it 2 more years, 2 more 15, I think he'll do it.
He is remarkable at what he does in every way. He runs
2 more years.
Keller Williams team.
And if you quit, that's when you give up. You quit until you quit.
Jim Paola.
Right?
How you
You don't quit until you give
Just
up.
give it
right?
2
That's
more
the way it is.
years.
You don't quit.
2 more
Yeah,
15, I think he'll do it.
It's all down and under.
When is it something like you never?
You know what you can do.
And you,
Oh, you never.
when you quit, that's when you give up.
Yeah,
You
I don't know
give up
what
until you
I'll say,
quit.
but
That's
anyway,
right.
it's
Or
funny.
you don't quit until you give up. Right? That's the way it is.
I've
You
never
don't
heard that
quit.
before.
Yeah,
Either way.
You never. What is it? Something like you never.
Speaking it out,
you never
Mike
time you
is,
quit, you're about
not
giving up.
here today.
Yeah, I
Mike,
don't know what the hell I'm
this
saying,
is
but
his
anyway.
birthday weekend.
Funny.
So happy birthday, Mike.
So the day I
Yes.
walk out the door, like, kiss the fattest part of my ass. This is the day I quit.
Oh, I thought it was 52.
Speaking it out,
Yeah,
Mike
maybe
is
60.
not here today. Mike Ralph from the mortgage firm because it's his birthday weekend.
Oh,
So
very
happy
nice.
birthday, Mike!
All right.
Happy
Yes.
birthday, Mike.
No, I really, he might be
Mike.
probably
40.
44 to
Oh, I thought it was 52.
Holy
that.
crap.
Yeah,
60?
maybe.
Yeah, maybe
45.
Huh. Is it 60?
Yep.
Do you know? Mid 40s? 49?
I don't know. I really probably 40,
I was around.
44 to 46.
Okay. I felt like 45.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
45-ish.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Is that what you landed into? Like late 40s, early 50s?
I put you
Yeah,
right.
I'm
Like 49?
Remember, I was around before air conditioning.
That's right. Yeah. Jim's dating process.
You know,
But I put you right in my wheel. I just put you right in my
I'm a
wheel.
little past you.
Okay,
That's
so
funny,
you
that's funny.
under me.
And
Thanks. Thank you.
Wow.
and Ross is
Yeah, well, you know I'm a top. You know I'm a top. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of people who would like to see that
Yeah,
video.
happy birthday.
Sick.
No, in fact, I didn't know it was
Yeah,
him. He asked to take the weekend off.
And,
I
Ross
said,
is
sure,
in
no
here 'cause he's
problem.
been
And
home all
then
day, so I hope
I
Ross
saw on social
feels better.
media.
Well,
that
yeah, feel better, Ross.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So
Yeah, and happy birthday.
I'm very low key about
So-
it. I don't usually
Did you
bring it
take
up.
the weekend off for his birthday? Does he make a big deal of his birthday?
No, in
Yeah, I
fact,
did it on
didn't know it
purpose,
was
too.
birthday.
I
He
did.
asked to take the weekend off. I said, sure, no problem. And then
Yeah, I know. I'm
on
sorry.
social
I'm sorry. I
media
missed
that
that,
it was
Jimothy.
birthday.
I had
That's
no
what I
idea.
found
That.
out.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't make
But,
it.
I'm very low key about it
we
too.
have
I don't usually
it's
bring it
really
up
great
and
to have AJ
So you
on the
thought you'd
show
bring up
because
this on the radio?
Thursday
Yeah, I
is
did
the
it on
month of
purpose,
February
too.
and
I
half
did.
of February.
I tried to do it as many times as
It would
possible
be a
last
great time
week.
to talk to AJ.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I know. I'm
Sending
sorry.
me
I'm sorry. I
information
missed
for
that.
the
Jimmy. I had
last
no
2
idea.
weeks. about what he's
we
seeing
have
locally.
it's really great to have
in
AJ on the
specific
show because
neighborhoods
on
and
Thursday
showing,
the monthly reports came out
what,
for
how would you
February.
describe the
So
figures that you were
it'll be a
showing
great
me?
time to talk to AJ because he's been sending me information for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, about what he's seeing locally, in specific neighborhoods and showing. How would you describe the figures that you were showing me?
It's part of the market analysis I do on every appraisal, but the difference is it's a micro market, right? Like, so instead of looking at Palm Beach County or the state or the nation, I'm looking at Sandalwood.
Yeah,
or
and some of the stuff he's sending me is really, really interesting. So we're going to talk about that and kind of compare it to like what boots on the ground appraiser looks at,
anywhere
boots on
from
the ground
3
realtor
to
looks
5
at,
of those in a
and
week.
what
So I'm
the
constantly
realtor
seeing
stats
more
are showing,
indicators that
right?
are local.
And just see if they're all drawn
and
together,
some of the
if
stuff
there's
he's
little
sending me is really,
variances and
really
stuff.
interesting. So we're going to talk about that and kind of
Yeah.
like
So,
what boots on the ground appraiser looks
we're going to
at,
go into that a
boots on
little
the ground
bit.
realtor looks at,
Also,
and
I
what
read a
the
story
realtor
yesterday
stats
about
are showing, right? And just see if they're
real
all drawn
estate and
together, if
bathrooms.
there's
We
little
brought back a
variances
bunch
and
of
stuff.
memories.
Spoiler, they won't.
Yeah,
That is a
So
disgusting story, but we're going to talk about it because
we're going to go into that a little bit.
disgusting
Also,
realtor
I read a
story
story
is
yesterday
one of the things we're
about
going to talk about. That the headline of that
real
one is
estate and
"Ooh,
bathrooms, and it
sign
brought
on
back a
toilet
bunch
reveals
of
divisive
memories,
real estate
bunch
trend."
of different things that had to do
I
with
was
that.
like,
It's a
"Okay, I'm gonna read
disgusting
that one."
story, but we're going
Right.
to talk about it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Disgusting realtor humor, I guess, is one of the
That's
things we're
funny.
going to talk about.
That's really
That
funny. So
headline
we're
of
going to
that
talk a
one
little
is
bit about that,
"Ooh,
but we really
sign
are
on
going to
toilet
really kind of
reveals
focus a little
divisive
wonky
real
stuff
estate
on
trend."
the stats.
And I
So
was
what
like,
we're
"Okay, I'm
trying
going
to
to read
do is
that one."
show you,
Besides,
not
said,
just read
don't
the
look
stats
in the
so you
upper
can see
deck.
what the stats are, but you should be thinking like if you're thinking of buying or selling or doing both
Really
or
funny. So we're
even
going to talk a little
investing,
bit about that, but we really
where
are
the
going to really
market's
kind of
going,
focus
what
a little
trends we're
wonky
seeing,
stuff on the
and
stats. But what we're
real
trying
life
to do is show you,
stuff
not
that
just
you
read the
can
stats and tell you
glean
these what
from
the
these,
stats are, but you should
statistical
be
reports.
thinking like if you're thinking of buying or
Glean,
selling or doing both
G-L-E-A-N.
or
Never heard of
even investing,
G-L-E-A-N?
where the market's going, what trends we're seeing, and real life stuff that
that's
you
funny
can
because if Mike
glean
was here,
from
he'd be
these,
looking it up right now to see if I used it
statistical
properly.
reports.
Right?
Yeah,
Too bad
G
it,
L E A N. You never heard of G L E A N?
No, but
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
Really?
No?
I don't have the strongest vocab, admittedly, but that's new one on me.
That's funny because
To glean information from the statistics.
right?
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Right,
an old
right.
timer, so
For
Pulled
glean?
together.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
To pick out.
And so use it again one more time.
And it'll be funny if somebody's
Say
looking
that
up. It's
word.
like,
Say your
what it
sentence.
means.
And this one, what can I learn from this?
To glean information from the statistics. Yeah.
To absorb the information.
Absorb, right,
Okay.
right.
All right.
Hold
Yeah.
Yeah,
together.
there you go. Yeah.
Like,
To pick out. Yeah. It'll be funny if somebody's looking up. It's like,
That's true. I would do that.
you guys are
Anyway,
We
we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We're always there.
If you can use Glean in a phone call today, you get bonus points.
There you go, yeah.
877-927-696.
So check us out all over there.
That's true. I would
Let's
do that.
get into some of the stats first. Just
Anyway,
to set up,
we are live on
to set up
Facebook
some
and YouTube.
stuff.
We're
Okay,
always
so
there.
national
If you ever want to
statistics,
catch us on reruns,
has
we're there.
really
And the
kind of been
iHeartMedia app, which
interesting.
is a really great way to
Zillow
do
came
it.
out with their February
So
report.
check us
I don't
out
know if
all
you
over
saw
there.
this, AJ, but,
Let's get
Zillow came
into
out
some
with
of the
their monthly
stats first,
report
just to
about
set
what's
up
going to happen,
just to set up
um,
some stuff.
what they
Okay,
feel like
so
is going to happen
national
for the rest of the
statistics
year as far as home
has
sales.
really kind
I
of been
know.
interesting. Zillow came out with their
I know,
February
and
report. I don't know
I
if you
agree
saw
with
this,
you
AJ,
guys.
but,
Zillow is like
Zillow came out with their monthly
the 800
report about what's going to happen, what they feel like is going to happen for the rest of the year as far as home sales.
Zillow.
I mean, you know, my disgust over here probably isn't coming through.
I know, and I agree with you guys. Zillow is like the 800-pound gorilla that nobody likes, but everybody uses. I'm talking to one of my buyers yesterday, and I have
that's why I hate it.
I know. I have him set up on the Flex MLS, and he's just going to use Zillow because it is an easy app to use.
Oh,
it's
sure.
very user friendly.
Yeah.
And
Accuracy?
They talk a good
accuracy,
game.
the accuracy is not so great. So that's always a big struggle with the realtors because
and this is also the company that invested all that money, right?
Into trying to flip properties themselves.
And just
didn't know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you're like, okay.
They lost less than $1 billion.
And you know the funny,
I mean,
and you know the funny part is think about this. That was like maybe the second strongest real estate market. When they lost money, that was the second strongest real estate market in our lifetime.
Yeah, it was.
It's hard
and
to
they
do.
lost all that money. And they weren't the only ones. All of those guys did it. Redfin, Zillow. Who were some of the other ones?
But what Zillow did that year was they went into and said, okay, we're going to start investing. We're going to flip property.
Mm-hmm, right.
And so they bought off their own algorithm. And then they went, Zillow's not that accurate.
Yeah, those estimates.
Those estimates kind of suck. We're getting hosed right now. That's funny. That is funny.
And me and the rest of the appraisers are like throwing chairs on the bonfire. Let it burn.
Yeah.
Burn, baby.
The world.
But the one thing that Zillow does have, to give them credit, is they have a larger perspective because they've got like 6 million homes on their computer list, so they could do a lot of
on a national
statistical analysis.
Yes,
for national analysis is probably like the easiest resource, right?
It is
because of the accumulation.
But if you were buying your home, you're not relying on Zillow.
No, if you're getting a divorce and you want an accurate number, if you're doing a lot of things. I had somebody try to counter me in court with Zillow.
Yeah.
And that was just fun for me.
That's really funny. Oh, I'd love to. We're going to talk about that.
Like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now that we beat up on Zillow enough, maybe not enough, but we're going to move on anyway. They do have a bigger national perspective as to things. So that's why I bring them up on these kind of things. So in November, when I was saying that this year was going to be flat or maybe even a little negative as far as appreciation by the end of the year, Zillow was saying, and this was very conservative for them, so they were being super conservative. They were saying 2.8% appreciation, right? That's how November, that's what they were predicting 2025 to be, about 4.5 million sales, and that it wasn't going to be a great year. It was going to be a slower year, and they were bracing themselves for a slower year.
But to be fair, we're talking about like that mid zone of like normal appreciation, right?
Well, what's inflation? What's the inflation rate? 2 to 3%,
right? So you're treading
So
water.
really, that's value's not going up at all,
right? And a lot of sellers don't get that right now, which we're going to talk about that in a second. But so then what happened is Zillow said, well, maybe not that was back in November. And every month they come out with the report to decide what they think. Each month they calibrate it. So then it became 1.1% appreciation and probably only 4 million sales. And now we're at 0.8% appreciation, about 4 million sales. So they
every month they just like
they're going down
negative pressure.
And that's really, really important for the public to know, the understanding how they're looking at the trend. So they were, they thought in November 2.8 was like a very bad number, very conservative, didn't want people to freak out over it because it wasn't very high. And it ended
up being high.
And now that was a very optimistic according to what's happening right now in the market.
Well, and it's too in November now we thought we had more interest rate cuts coming this year, right? And I'm sure that had to play some into it. That's got to be a big driver for the overall.
Yeah, because we were dropping the interest rates. We were cutting them a lot. How many cuts did we have? Like 4?
I don't remember the number.
We had
of
a
cuts,
half
but
a point and a couple of.
But it was. I'm talking
points.
about what they were projecting.
Yeah, the sentiment was
right, but
because
it
felt like
in
inflation.
The midst of dropping is what I was saying. We already had some cuts and expected more.
Right. Exactly.
Now and then
now they're like
because they're worried about inflation, and all that. So
well, and not to be political, but obviously the Fed is eyeing what happens with tariffs, and like they're really in this like we're gonna wait and see game because that's the responsible thing to do.
But I would have to think that would factor into, and this is the thing that annoys me so much about these online systems, and it's not just Zillow. I don't have any visibility to how they come up with their numbers.
Right. They have their own proprietary.
Everything's proprietary. So like when I was in court for that divorce and they're going, well, Zillow says this. What do you think of that? I don't think anything of that. Where did they come up with that? I have no way to, with me, I write a report. Well, there's 20 pages of documentation. This is how I came up with my number. Mm-hmm. With them, it's just a number at the end, and that's what I don't like is not being able to see the engine behind it.
So,
quick question though, did that hold any clout in court as far as their proprietary lack of transparency?
No. I mean, as far as what? Oh, No, it was more of me picking apart the comps one by one. They did a lot of things wrong that day. So it was just one part of it.
But it didn't hold a ton of clout. I mean, it wasn't bow to the Zillow.
Yeah, no. The Zillow number was ridiculous. It was the acreage, and you just can't. The acreage has all these outbuildings and different, yard characteristics and locational, and I don't think Zillow is very good with things like
Hey, AJ. There, I got your number. Pulled it out of something.
Pull that right. It's proprietary.
There it is.
I can't tell you where I pulled it from.
So with the Zillow numbers, I want to put this in perspective. Pre-COVID, and even after a little bit after COVID, we were selling about 5 million homes a year, right? And then we hit a peak during that crazy COVID time. We hit a peak of over 6 million. I think it was like 6.2 million. That's the time where you had 30 offers and people were waiving inspections and buyers are just going nuts, right? But then, last year was 4 million. And the year before that, we didn't hit 5 million the year before that in 23. 24, we hit 4 million homes. If we're due 4 million homes this year, that's like the worst home sales since 2009 or something, as far as the amount of homes being sold. So they're not expecting that to increase this year, expecting another flat year of home sales. And if 5 million's the normal, if you will, right? And we're at 4 million, that's a 20% drop in sales.
And it's going to be combined with a lot of increased inventory. If that's true, we're going to have some pain. But I don't necessarily think that is true for our area.
Right.
That might be true on a national scale.
Right. And I'm right now, thousands of miles up, looking down right now. I'm looking from the peak of the mountains right now just to see like where we are. Now, the other thing I noticed was there's this company. I almost feel I might be embarrassed that I mention it later, but there's this company I watch on websites a lot, Reventure Consulting. Have you heard about that?
No, but I don't follow.
They're a property analysis app that you can get, and I'm thinking of buying it if it's accurate. They have a lot of really great statistics, and one of the for nationwide and local, and one of the things county by county across the whole United States. But one of the things it said was the most recent report that they did was that there are 3 states that are actually losing population right now, and it's Florida, Texas, and Arizona. And we have a net loss of population. West Palm is high, Orlando is high, Tampa, St. Pete is high. In Texas, it's Austin and Dallas is the big players of loss. Arizona, it's Maricopa County and the county to the east of it, I think. I can't remember that county. But they're losing tens and tens of thousand net loss people. Like I think they said the West Palm Beach area lost like 67,000 net. So this idea of that we're having, people are just still streaming in. It isn't. What they're saying is the reason why we're losing people is that still people are coming in, but we're losing more people than coming in. And it's because of cost, weather, right? And cost. And they feel that the affordability isn't here anymore.
Weather's interesting because
weather events.
Okay, because I was like, weather. If you don't like heat, this should have never been an option for you. Neither should have Arizona.
Right.
Nor should have Texas.
Or Texas.
Yeah,
right?
all three are just
I immediately thought of hurricane when he said that.
That's what I meant. It's like events, right?
Which is kind of comical because like I had a client about 10 years ago and I was working at a brokerage at the time. And they said, we want to buy on the East Coast, but we don't want to have to worry about hurricanes. And my broker said, well, that's kind of an unfair statement. There is nowhere really that you're going to be safe from that. And, you can't give them a no hurricane in this area guarantee because,
Exactly. Well, maybe Montana.
Maine. Yeah, but they wanted the coast.
I know.
Maine.
So, nationally, everybody's thinking it's going to be a pretty flat year, like nothing to write home about. And that's their hopefulness. Right? They're thinking that if it doesn't go that way, it's not as likely for prices to shoot up. It's way more likely if we don't get what they're projecting right now, we're going to have problems. And it could be actually worse than they're predicting, kind of like how Zillow started at 2.8 and they keep adjusting based on the real life statistics coming in.
So as far as an investor goes, I think I can understand that being really valuable information. But if you're going to buy a primary home that you're going to be living in for 7 to 10 years, yeah, that future kind of analysis is going to matter to an extent. But really, buying a home for you and your family, it's all about, does it make sense for you right now? I mean,
there's 100% truth to that.
I think people can get too lost.
But it's important. But it's important to know where you are in the market. I agree with you on that. When you need the home, as long as you can afford it,
that's it.
Right? As long as you afford it,
it's about numbers.
Get the home in the long run. Remember, I did that little statistical analysis about appreciation. I said, in the last, I don't know what it was, 20 years or 30 years. I think there were only 3 years where we didn't have positive appreciation in Florida.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right. So it's betting people, if you were in Vegas, you could get odds that you're going to win 17 times out of 20.
You're jumping all over.
You're jumping all over that, right? That's like a no-brainer, right?
And what's going to happen to the interest rates while you're on the sidelines too? That's the other thing. When values go down, interest rates tend to go up, so you're still paying more.
So you can't play that game. The interest rate game that everybody was so freaked out about, that's because they were dealing with crack cocaine addicts, and then the crack cocaine was taken away from them. So those 2%, 3% interest rates got taken away.
Yeah,
and they just wanted that 2 to 3%. They wanted it back, but it wasn't.
It's not coming back
unless we have another event like COVID.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it doesn't have to be COVID; it could be something else.
But
we'd have to have something really bad to happen to go down to those interest rates.
Yes.
People forget the reason why we had those interest rates was to spur the economy that was dead because everybody was home. Right. So they were just trying people to spend money. Your credit cards were cheaper, the loans were cheaper, the business loans were cheaper. Just spend money. That's why they had those interest rates so low. Now, if the interest rates drop this time, it's going to be the same reason. The last time we had interest rates cut last year is because the economy was stabilizing and they felt that these interest rates were actually impeding growth and to make affordability better. They were hoping to ease the interest rates because they thought it was a safe bet because our economy was stable. Now I think that if they start dropping the interest rates, it's to spur a weakening economy, not a stable economy. They're going to be propping up the economy, the next rates that come. I think that they won't cut the rates unless we start seeing unemployment. I think the unemployment is really what they're focusing on. I know they don't say that out loud, but to me, it's the number one indicator that's going to be the linchpin to all of this stuff.
Yeah, stagflation.
I always hear them talking about inflation. That they're always worried that if they drop the rates, then inflation's going to get worse, and so that's what they always seem to be cautious about.
Well, that was last year, but I feel like this year it's going to be different. They're still going to be talking about, should we cut the rate? Should we not cut the rate? I don't think it's going to be. The inflation is going to be, if the inflation starts rearing up, that will be in the conversation without a doubt, because that's what they were worried about last year. But I think this year, the bigger risk is the inflation could happen. It might already be happening now. Reports didn't show that last month, but next month they might. But what I think is going to happen is, I have a friend that just had a company that blindly just laid off 50 people, right? And this is just a local company down here. And I'm seeing more layoffs in the news, right? And
once the news starts reporting it, it is way late. Yeah. The reality is if you go anywhere, everywhere is understaffed. Everywhere. My wife had to bag her own groceries at Publix.
Wow.
When has that ever been a thing?
Right.
It's not a thing. Right. Shopping's a pleasure at Publix. That's why you go there. She had to bag. Well, and for a second, and when they realized it was happening, they called in as anybody they could, because that's not
4, right.
But those are the signs of the times.
Yeah.
Everywhere is operating on skeleton crews, and it has been. When the news is reporting it, it's months.
Yep.
It's months behind.
Soon they're going to be do-it-yourself pub subs. Make your own pub sub, right? and it's true. Sometimes it's too far. So
too late.
And I'm not even talking about these federal government layoffs. I'm not trying to get into I'm just talking about layoffs in general.
Yeah, I'm not talking about federal government either. I don't go to federal government buildings. I go to normal places.
Yeah, and some of that federal government layoff stuff, I know it's upsetting to some people and everything, but the harsh reality is, whether you like it or not, like even during the Clinton Gingrich thing, they laid off 400,000 people in the federal government.
Yeah, it's not
right.
uncommon.
So that part is not the,
it's
that
not
part
enough
is
to
not
drive the overall
the death knell, and that's about 0.3% unemployment rate if you lost 400,000 people. I'm not saying that those 400,000 people don't count and they matter. They're real people that are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
So I feel really bad
That's
for
not
them.
The focus.
Yeah, but just talking generally speaking. But I think that, this could become the slippery slope. I'm not saying it is now, but the risk to me is we start getting layoffs. I feel that there's a lot of people out there that are just a few paychecks away from not making their mortgage payment, right? Or the credit card payment or the car payments that are super high.
Mm-hmm.
And then people start buying less. Then the employers need less employees because there's less demand, and that's how stagflation starts.
It's happening.
So I don't know if it's happening.
I've been watching this slow moving train for months, and it's totally happening. At least the scaling back. Yes. So the scaling back also could be, this is the reality. During COVID, all corporations learned, look at this. They continue to spend, and we don't need all this staff. You know what they'll do? They'll wait longer for their service. I just got new glasses, and I don't have the worst prescription. My prescription's, every year it gets a little worse, but it's a pretty simple prescription, right? A little bit of reader on the bottom, progressive. It's not Coke bottle, right? It's not like a super prescription. Normally I get my glasses and they're like, it could be up to 2 weeks. 2 days later, I'm getting a phone call. Hey, your glasses are in, right? 3 days tops. I'm going into it was a week Thursday. It's going to be 2 weeks. Why? What my prescription? It's because of the staffing. They're just, literally everywhere is just shrinking it down. So I think you're going to notice it more and more and more and more and more. The only thing that's not understaffed right now is like Amazon.
Right. And
why? Because they have packages dropping on everybody's door still every day.
And here's the weird thing is that, like, I talk to people looking for workers, and they're having a heck of a time. Like Paul Krasker from the law office of Paul Krasker. Hey, Paul. He actually is out looking right now for certain types of attorneys and paralegals and processors. We'll get into that later.
Well, I might have a paralegal for him.
He's having a. Oh, really?
Yeah, I know a real damn good one. Actually,
okay, yes.
The prices, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll talk to you about that. But the bottom line is, though, I heard several employers talking about how hard it is to find qualified employees at this point too.
Well, qualified, good.
Yeah,
I hear a lot of, I can't get people in here that really want to work, or that are taking it seriously, or know.
When you brought it up, that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, well, probably qualified applicants. You can probably get it. Applicants.
Right.
We're talking about people that are qualified for the position here, and that's a different beast more times than not. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and take a break. And what we're going to do now is we talked a little bit about like the big issues, the looking from the 1,000-mile view. Now we're going to go down into the trenches. We're going to talk about what AJ's been seeing in the communities that he's been appraising over the last several weeks and months. And we're going to talk about the monthly market reports and see where we stand as far as sales, price appreciation, depreciation, any trends that we can see that's happening in that part of the world. And we're going to do that next.
Excellent. We got a quick break. We get back at it. Of course, you're always welcome to be a part of the program. And we are live on this. What's today? The 22nd of March? Is that accurate?
Yes, it's the 22nd.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Little timestamp for you there. 4-minute reset. If you'd like to jump into the conversation, write this number down. You may need it in the future. 877-927-6969. That's toll free to be a part of the program. You should write this one down as well. Write it next to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. These are pros, experts in their field that work cohesively together. So when you're buying a home, selling a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, anything that touches the world of real estate, we got a professional to handle what you're trying to get done the right way by you. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Of course, you got a hotline there. Call it 888-973-7828. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll get a live body answering that line at 888-973-7828. You'll find it at floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with floridatalkrealestate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Real Radio weather.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Beautiful rest of the day in store. Temperatures continuing to climb. Mid and upper 70s is where we'll find our afternoon highs. Wind still coming out of the north. We'll see a few more clouds build through the latter half of the afternoon into the evening hours, and then overnight even more cloud cover builds in. With that cloud cover overnight, tomorrow will be a little bit warmer in the morning and afternoon.
This report is sponsored by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. Learn how podcasting can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation, because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1, and we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, that's it. 877-927-6969. Toll free. That's the Real Radio West Palm Beach toll free line. That's right. If you call them Penthouse, Locker Room, of course, Florida Talk Real Estate, that'll get you through. Jimothy will be the one to line that up there, by the way. How's those phone lines looking today? Are they working all right?
All right, well, let's check it out. Yeah, all right, we'll check it in real time. Oh, there we go. All right, we got one there. Oh, there we got two.
That's good.
Three.
They're all working, it seems like.
Oh, look at that. All right.
How about the last one? You did check 5.
Plenty phone line right there's.
Right,
there's even all right.
Hotline?
Even the hotline's working.
All right, good.
So if you know the hotline number, give it a call.
Do that. and man, good for you, huh?
Yeah, really.
Good for you.
VIP right there, huh?
Good to see you as always, dude.
Good to see you as well, Johnny.
And thanks for your efforts over there. Always appreciate you. You're more than welcome to dial in. Questions, comments, concerns. Want to dive into the conversation at hand. Maybe AJ Holman with experienceappraisers.com says something that piques your interest. How are you, AJ?
I'm doing great today.
Good to see you as always. Or maybe Jimmy D, our fearless leader. 13 plus years now, I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovation. Jimmy D, Jim DePola, how you be?
Leave me alone. I'm gleaning the information right now so I could talk about it.
Soaking it all up.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think you used it right that time.
No, So what I'd like to do right now is to go over just the Palm Beach County stats, and then I want to see what AJ, see if this reflects what he's finding out in the local market day-to-day, boots on the ground. Okay, so the February monthly report came out from the Realtors Association of Palm Beach County. I don't know if it's the Florida Realtors Association or whatever, but
yeah,
it's from
the one
Realtors Association. I don't know if it's the state group or the county. Oh, Florida Realtors Association does it. So the state group puts this out. Okay. Every county, every metropolitan statistical area, every city, every zip code, they do this. So if you want to know what's happening in your neighborhood, give me a call. I can get you the reports. But okay, so closed sales. We had 1,009 closed sales in February. That's down just a slight bit from last February, but it's significantly higher. If I remember last month, we only had, I think we only had 800 sales last month. I'm trying to pull it up right now, and of course it's not coming up right away. But I think we only had like 800 sales last month because I remember going, wow, it's like only 60% of what we normally do. So if it was 800 last month and we're 200 up, that's a 25% increase from the month before. So we had stronger sales in February. Historically, February is stronger than January anyway, so some of this is seasonal. A couple other things to notice is the median sales price. We're at $647. Last year at this time we were at $615. The next month we went to $640, and then we went to $659. $659.9 is our all-time record. We haven't broke that record yet. That happened last year. So $647, we're floating around right where we were at the high point. Couple other things. Days on market really increased a lot. We're now officially at 50 days on market in Palm Beach County. I remember when that was like 9 days on market or 11 days on market, something like that.
You're like the crackheads with the interest rate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because say 50 is pretty average, to be honest with you. Historically, like if you've been a realtor for a long time, 50 days on market is pretty.
As long as you're
actually,
under 90.
It's a pretty healthy market, 50 days on market. Historically, like when you get, like AJ said, on the market 3 months or longer, it starts getting a little worrisome to the sellers. But that's not a bad number, really. But it is increasing a lot. It was 38 days a year ago. Right now we're up to 50. Pending sales.
I would imagine that going up, though, as inventory goes up. I feel like inherently days on market's going to go up. Like that's just.
But here's a crazy thing: right? Lies, damn lies, and statistics. So when a big influx of inventory comes in, the days on market goes down. Because the new stuff coming on market is 0 days on market. I see that all the time in my analysis.
It weighs it down.
It weighs it down because there's so many new ones.
Right.
It makes total sense.
I see that every time. That's the thing. You look at these stats and you have to really think about them and not just take the number and run.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good point.
So if there's a dump of 1,000 homes that get put on the market and they're all 0 days
marketing times a week.
just like that, our days on market just gets hatcheted, like not scalped, hatcheted.
Oh, that sounds like crazy accounting stuff that you do.
Well, that's
you
said it perfectly. Lies, damn lies.
Yeah, it's statistics.
Yeah, I heard Mike say that last week or the week before, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's really interesting point. Pending sales, we're at 1372. So AJ, let me ask you this: if we had 1,000 closed sales this month, right, but we had 1,300 pending sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that's future closings. Pending sales means future closings.
Yeah, it should be going up.
That means that we would expect that next month would be stronger than this month, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing too.
Right. Okay, cool. Now, new listings. We had 1,800 put on the market in February. Last month was a year ago. Last month was actually 1,800, so it's pretty much the same. And pending inventory. Pending inventory last year we were at 2,000 homes. This year we're at 1,899, so there is a little bit of a difference there. And then inventory, this is where the big jump is.
Wait a minute, we have less inventory than this time last year?
No, pending inventory. So we have less pending inventory.
Under contract.
Yes, under contract. So what the difference is between under contract and new pending sales is the new pending sales just went under contract that month. Pending might mean they went under contract in January and they're still waiting to close, so it's pending.
Gotcha.
Okay. Then inventory, this is the big news to me, and I think this is going to be the driver of our future of real estate down here for right now. Maybe AJ doesn't agree, but we have 6,292 homes for sale right now in Palm Beach County. Last year, this time was only 5,080, so it's a pretty big jump. We're at 5.7 months of inventory right now. 6 months is supposed to be a neutral market. This was as low as like 1.3 or 1.4. So we jumped up from 1.3, 1.4 to 5.7.
So then technically we're not into a seller's market or a buyer's market yet. We're
right
into more neutral.
That's correct. But to me, I agree with Mike Rao from the mortgage firm. And Mike says that he says it feels like a buyer's market. And it certainly does to me.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, you think so too?
Yeah, I think we're transitioning into one.
I think so for sure. And so based on what I just told you, tell me your insights of like what confirms what we're reading that makes sense and that other stuff that you feel that isn't looked at in the same way or things that are just completely different than you see in this report.
Well, a few things. I want to start with the median price. I like looking at the median and the average for the same data set. And for an example, I ran just for kicks and giggles for today. I had run Sandalwood 2 years ago when I came on the show during this time period.
Now, was this the West Palm Beach one or is this the Palm Beach Gardens Jupiter
one?
No,
the West Palm Beach off
Village.
Yeah.
The Village. Okay, good.
So at this point, 2 years ago, there was 17 actives, 98 sales in that year. This is 2 years ago. This is March 2023. So it had that big jump all during 2022. But more importantly, and to my point, the median sale price was $290, and the average was $287. So very similar. So when I ran those today or yesterday, there's 51 actives. So there's triple the inventory that there was. The number of sales in the last year is 84 versus 96. So a little bit off, but not bad. Now the median sale price was 282, which is only, it's about 2% less than it was, which this was 2 years ago, was right during the peak. So that's not very surprising. But the average was 275, which is another 2% below that. So, and I was thinking about it. Okay, maybe it's Sandalwood. Maybe people aren't renovating them as much as they were during that time. So they're not, so the average isn't there, but the median's still good because there are still some renovated and some that are lower. My only point is when you're looking at medians, and medians are great. I like looking at medians and averages. But let's say that one thing I think is that we have a lot more high-end property we have $20-30 million sales going on, a lot more than we used to. So those things all skew the numbers. Like I said last time I was here about Bristol, that's just one condominium building, and I was looking at another property for a client out in Wellington the other day. We figured out that there was over $500 billion in family money within like an eighth of a mile of his house.
Wow.
Because you've got Gates, you've got Cook, Tylenol, you've got I forget who else, but we went through the numbers and we got to 600 billion fast.
Wow.
with like 10 families or less.
Well, that's good neighbors to keep, huh?
So that equestrian area in Wellington, maybe that's booming. That's not really the same market as everything else, but it can skew your numbers big time because the dollars are so big. And same thing with downtown West Palm and Palm Beach. And, there are markets. We sit here and we talk about the average, and we're talking about the normal housing, the $200,000 to $600,000 houses, $700,000 houses.
It's definitely true that it's a tale of two cities right now. With the wealthy market, I would say like 4 million or higher. I'm guessing, not the $1 million market, even though everybody thinks that's a higher market. But we're talking about
real money,
very, very wealthy people, right? So I wanted to say 7 million, right? But let's just say 4 million or higher.
Yeah, 4 is a good number, I think.
But that market is still pretty strong.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that are still coming down to Florida because they love it and all of that. But that's what I've been saying for how long? About a year and a half now, maybe longer, that we're really going through a transitory period where wealthier and wealthier people are moving down here, gobbling up a big part of the coast, which I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's just changing.
It is.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the middle class people are moving, and they're either moving to the central part of the state or they're moving out of the state completely. That's why I thought those migration numbers at the top of the show were kind of interesting, because that is not what people are thinking. People are thinking people are just still flocking to Florida. We're still getting that, but not everybody flocking to Florida. Only certain people are flocking to Florida.
And I'm not sure of this.
Jimmy.
Gotcha.
Jimmy.
I'm on it.
I'm not sure of this, but I would guess that we have a higher attrition rate of residents in Florida since we have so many retirees. So we always have those numbers leaving the population, right? And I think we had a lot of people that came in during COVID because it was work from home, work remote, and everybody. I saw a lot of people moving from around the country here. And I think a lot of them got here and went,
Yeah, right.
now
It's
now they're moving back other
Flying
areas.
cockroaches, I'm out of here.
I actually had a significant number of people that I've met doing my work that are like, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to live here, now that I've been here and experienced it.
I think that's all true, but I also think there's an extra feature that we haven't seen before since the 50s, which is older people might not be thinking, you know what? When I sell my home, I'm moving to Florida.
Yeah.
I think we're losing for the middle class people, not the ultra wealthy or anything, but middle class. I don't think you're going to have, Johnny Lunch Bucket in Detroit necessarily thinking I'm going to, when I'm going to sell everything and then pack up and retire in Florida because it's so affordable and I love the lifestyle.
Right there. Because it used to be back then, these 55 and older condos, low HOA fee, and you could live in the nice weather, maybe by the water, and not spend too much.
And everything was stable. You got your appreciation every year. It just happened almost like magically every year. You didn't have to really worry about anything, right? It was just getting better and better and better, right? But now the costs, you can't really say, hey, my costs are going to be controlled if I move to Florida.
Right. Especially with the hurricanes and the insurance situation.
Yeah, there's so much unknown. So, it's funny. I had one of the listeners when I was talking about this last year said, "Why don't you like Florida anymore, Jimmy?" And I'm like,
I love Florida.
I live here. I choose to be here, right? And I love Florida, but we are going through a change. I'm not saying I like it either, but it's a change, and change happens. And I really see that's happening. There was an article, I didn't save it for today's show, but Larry Ellison. I forget who that, he's a super big tech guy, Oracle or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But,
is that why the name rings a bell?
Yeah, I think it's Oracle, but he's like that, he's like one of those guys, right? Big cat guy. he's collating a bunch of land in Manalapan, and his plan is to transform Manalapan into this like super wealthy, rich thing that I'm like, isn't that what it is now?
I was gonna once again real money, not these peasants that live there now.
Yeah, exactly. You $100 million people, get the hell out of my town if you're not a billionaire. I'm not saying he's saying that, but what I'm saying is, these super wealthy people are coming down and they have plans of what's going to happen down here. I mean, Bezos built down in Miami and he wants to move bridges so his ship can get in because it's not tall enough. The bridge isn't tall enough for to get his ship in.
He has that problem a lot, doesn't he? Poor guy.
So the thing is we're really going through a complete change, and we're just it's unfolding right before our eyes is what's happening.
But getting back to,
I'm sorry.
No.
We were talking about median values and stuff.
Getting back to normal housing for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely see an inventory growing.
But West Palm. So getting back to that community of Sandalwood, that's a very nice community. I just went and visited about 10 homes with one of my buyers who's on first-time home buyer. It's a great community to be in because the community seems to be very safe. It's very walkable. It's centrally located. The schools are okay. They don't have the highest rated schools, but they're okay schools. And it's affordable.
It's a good entry level neighborhood.
It's a good entry level neighborhood to start, and you don't feel like you feel that everybody that's there can afford what they got, and the places look like at least on the outside they're taken care of. Some of those communities go in there, the fences are all rotted, and the stuff isn't landscaped.
Everybody
correctly.
hates the HOA, but if you don't have a strong HOA, there's a few. In my mind, I just flashed through like 4 of them that are identical design to Sandalwood, but they
don't run it right, and it's really
the fences are rotten, the roofs because it has those mansards, and if they don't do them all at once, I think it looks horrible. When one corner does
In fact, it just brings out the idea. Well, when's this roof going to be done?
Right,
that roof over there is done. They're all built the same time, and there's 4 new roofs, and there's 10 old roofs. Something's happening, right?
Right.
But these are the 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath homes that have the courtyard, and each bedroom has this little kind of faux balcony at the top, usually a sliding glass door, and then you have a courtyard.
Isn't there sometimes
once
one
in a while there's a 3? Yeah, sometimes they're 3.
Yeah,
and they're very common. They're all over South Florida.
And I love them because, especially Sandalwood, because it's not just Sandalwood. There's like 4 neighborhoods there that all have the same size, same basic amenity. So I love it for a statistical analysis.
HOAs aren't too high, right? They're not super high. And, 3 high 2s to low 4s.
Like the median's like the average of the median right at 275, 282 right now.
Yeah. And imagine getting a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom home for $280,000. That sounds like a pretty good deal in South Florida, right? So a lot of first-time home buyers, this is a great way to get your foot in the door and you'll get appreciation. But even these homes, I would have figured that these homes would have still had strong appreciation because there's so much demand for them. But you showed a little bit of depreciation over the last year.
2 years.
The last 2 years. That's
so it probably, things have basically been flat for the last 2 years.
Right.
There's a little bit of movement, but like I showed with the median and the average, it's really not. Mine was 1%. I mean, that's a blip, that's nothing. But yeah, the thing is though, right now in this market, so there's 51 actives. All right. So let's say 10 of those are in bad shape, and let's say 10 of them are totally renovated and 30 of them are in the middle. So if your guy's looking for a place, he's got 30 people, 30 homes he can look at. He's going to like at least 10 of them. So now you're going to call around and figure out who's the most desperate out of those 10. And that's how you're going to get a good deal.
That's exactly it. This is really, people might think it's counterintuitive, but in a lot of ways, this is the best market we've had for buyers in quite a while. Yes, we do have higher interest rates, but historically, they're not that high. We're at 6.67, I think, today. Freddie Mac, just to put it on record, just so we have it on the show, we're at 6.67 for Freddie Mac interest rate. That's 0.02 from last week, which was, again, a 0.02 increase from the week before. So we're only at 667. The median, the actual mid range of interest rates over the last 365 days is 6.6. We're at 667. So we're right in the middle of what we've had for the last year. But if you go back 2 years, it's pretty much the same. 6.6 is pretty much the average. So did some people get 6.10 at one point? Yeah, they did. And did some people pay 7.10? Yeah, but the average pretty much was right around 6.5, 6.66. So the interest rates really haven't kept going up and up and up and up. They've kind of been flat for the last couple of years. They haven't gone really down that much. There's been a fluctuation of about a half a point. So what's good about the buyers is that the interest rates are remaining stable. When the interest rates were going up real fast and you were on a budget and we were out there trying to find a house for you, there was a lot of pressure that you had to find a house fast because you were trying to fight off the interest rates that might push you out of the market. Right? That's really rough when you're going through that. Now you don't really have that issue. The interest rates are pretty stable, so you have time to look. You don't feel pressured,
and you don't have that shortage. You don't have that shortage where people were going crazy because every time I make an offer, I'm getting beat out by 2 other people, or 3 other people, and you don't have that anymore.
And there's so much more inventory, 40% more inventory than 2 years ago. So there's plenty of choices out there, and if you're willing, like what AJ said, that's so true of that community where you had a few homes that were really fixed up and modernized over time, right? And then you had a whole bunch of them that were just okay. Maybe they had some upgrades, but not everything. But
kind of mid-level.
Yeah, mid-level. And then you had the dogs, right?
Yeah.
And it's original everything. They didn't do any deferred maintenance. You open up underneath the sink and the cabinets are collapsing inside the sink and everything, all that stuff, right? Smells funky, right? All that stuff. So and that's what you had when we went out to look at Sandalwood, right?
Sure.
So what buyers have a great choice. They could say, hey, if I'm willing to do the sweat equity, if you're going to have to gut everything, get the lowest price one you can get, because if you're going to put everything into it again anyway, why not get the lowest one as long as the location in the area is good?
Right.
Now, some people, it's like, I don't want to become a home weekend warrior picking up a hammer. I don't want to do that for my life. Well, then focus on the ones that are really fixed up, but try to find the weak spots in there, because there are a lot of weak spots. Like AJ saying, there's a lot of sellers that want to sell.
Highly motivated.
And I just saw one where the house was on the market and went pending at like 560. And it closed at 460, and it was pending at the list price of 560. Right. Now, if you didn't make an offer to that seller and thought the 560 was too high, somehow they got to that 460. So that buyer had to ask that seller to take 460, and that seller said yes.
Well, and I'll tell you what's jumping off the page with these stats for Sandalwood too, and this is going to be counterintuitive, but so keep it in mind, 2 years ago, the median list to sale price ratio. So if they were asking,
so that was probably what, 98% 2 years ago?
92%.
No.
And well, I'll read them to you. I
price
ran it
to sold price.
Yeah, I ran it every week for 3 months.
Okay. Oh, this is Sandalwood.
This is 2 years ago. Yes, Sandalwood.
Oh, I'm thinking of the county stats. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Remember, micro markets.
Yeah, micro market. I'm sorry.
So back then it was 91 to 94, but let's call it 92, which is kind of the most consistent. So 92%. So normally you would get about 8% less than you were asking. Now it's 97%.
In there?
My point is this. A lot of people have reduced their prices about as far as they can to try to keep in line with what's happening, but they're not taking much less than that. But like you just said, that when you find the one that's desperate, now that one might take a 80%, might have a 20% drop from what they're asking.
There's a home I'm looking at in a community for one of my buyers that the community, they're selling between 445 and 460 when they're fixed up. This one's fixed up and they're only asking 419.
Right.
Right. So that's the ask price when they put it on the market. you probably could get them not for sure, because it's only been on the market like 4 days, but you might even be able to get it lower than 419 if you're the first one to strike at it and say, if you can offer really great terms, hey, I'll close completely on your timeline. How quickly do you want to close? I'll make it I'll put down a deposit. I'll make a very short inspection. Inspecting that type of home takes 2 hours, right? So you find out if you're going to buy it or not pretty quick.
Yeah.
And you try to make the terms better that way for the seller, so they give you the super duper price you want.
Right.
Now, some of them are going to give you the finger and say, no way, Jose. That's okay. You're just looking for the one that says yes.
And I do a fair amount of appraisals for realtors if the home's been sitting for a little while. And it's amazing how many times they go, the first week we had somebody come out and they offered a really good price and my seller would not take it because they had just put it on the market. And here we are 3 months later trying to get 50,000 less than that.
Yeah. Yeah. AJ, we don't want to go over it because both of these deals are active, but AJ and I were commiserating on one of the deals that we're working in. Our numbers were almost identical, 2 completely different houses, same exact situation both times. And some of the other things that are popping up for sellers and buyers right now, this is another trend I'm seeing, is appraisal problems.
Really?
Yeah. I'm seeing more houses not appraising. I'm having a lot of houses not appraised, and I'm the buyer and the seller. It happened to me both times.
Huh.
And I haven't had that in years, a couple of years. Well, and the other thing is buyers not qualifying for the loan at the last minute. And the whole deal falling apart. That's happening a lot more now, too.
That is not the time.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
I had one a few months ago. Well, I will say this. So I, knock on wood, have not had to do one lender appraisal this year. So I did the numbers the other day. I have appraised over $1 billion worth of residential real estate.
That's awesome, man.
Over 3,300 appraisals.
Slacker.
Yeah. But I really don't want to do bank work anymore if I can help it. I don't like all the rules. I don't like that all my appraisals go into a federal database. I don't like them scraping my data and probably selling it back to Zillow or whatever to cut my own throat. I like doing private work. I do a lot of estates, a lot of people getting ready to sell or having trouble selling, and a lot of divorces. So I haven't had a lot of calls for lenders. The reason I shifted so much to private work also is because there wasn't a lot of lender work out there. So in the last 3 weeks, I've had probably 6 or 7 banks calling me to try to get me to do appraisals, and that hasn't happened for months.
Oh.
So
well, maybe that's a pickup in activity.
That's what I was thinking, and my data shows that too. I'm showing an increase in the number of sales, an increase in number of pendings, but a bigger increase in the number of actives.
Do you feel that this is season? Like if I were talking to my coach would say the reason why we're seeing these increases right now, because you normally see these increases during this time of the year, it's seasonal. And he always likes to adjust for the season. I don't kind of do that. I go raw data. What do you think, AJ?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, certain submarkets for sure. 55 and older, yeah. Because more, seasoned people come down here. Like I have a friend that has one listed in a 55 and older right now, and they told him, you better drop it because you got 1 more month left, before everybody goes home for the end of winter.
Yep.
So certain markets, yes. And a lot of the intercoastal front, waterfront, more vacation style homes for sure. But the average stuff,
you think this is more organically driven increase, not just seasonal?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I never really see a big seasonal data shift, like it's nobody obviously listening can see it, but like these graphs that I have that I run every appraisal, what started really surprising me a couple of weeks ago, and the reason I started emailing them out to you and some other realtors I know, is that they're so consistent. It's consistent across, like, these are the neighborhoods that I've appraised in the last couple of weeks. Country Club Acres out in Boynton Lakes, Garden Woods up in Garden, Smith Farms, La Mancha, So in West Palm, High Point and Delray, and Canyon and Boynton Beach.
That's an eclectic group of type of
all kinds of different properties
showing the same kind of thing, increasing sales.
Mostly the strongest indicator is increasing inventory.
Right.
And by the way, all the stats that you just read for February, I'll call right now. They're going to be saying they're going to see that trend continue in March because all my data goes through March. All my data goes through yesterday.
I see.
Or not all of it.
Yep,
I guess some of these I did a couple of weeks ago. But so a slight increase in sales. But what's really been surprising me is there's been a pretty big jump in the number of pendings. So that makes me think we'll have another slight increase on sales volume.
Let's go ahead and take a break, Johnny. And then on the flip side, what we're going to do is talk about what all this means in real life. It isn't just gobbledygook. If you're a buyer, we talked a little bit about why it's good to be a buyer, but we're going to talk about how to be a seller in today's market and a seller buyer, because there's a lot of that going on right now. And you really have to do a delicate dance today to get the job done right. And we're going to talk about, bathroom disgusting stuff in realtor world.
I don't know if I need to be here for that part.
We still got a lot to get into. It's just about an hour remaining on this Saturday. You're always welcome to be a part of the program, toll free at 877-927-6969. Of course, if you are not comfortable on the radio, believe me, I understand. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. This is a remarkable resource for you, your friends, your family. Anybody that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do with it, or anything that touches the world of real estate, you really need a pro's pro. There's lots of people out there that are good at what they do. Believe me, there are plenty that are terrible at what they do. When you're dealing with selling, buying a home, something that you really, really need a pro, you got to go to someone that's great at what they do. That's why you want to remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com on Facebook and YouTube. Great resources. But that .com is access to the entire team. Know it, use it, love it, share it. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate. We're right here on Real Radio.
What's a Real Radio podcast? It's Real Radio on demand. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Beautiful rest of the day in store. Temperatures continuing to climb. Mid and upper 70s is where we'll find our afternoon highs. Wind still coming out of the north. We'll see a few more clouds build through the latter half of the afternoon into the evening hours, and then overnight even more cloud cover builds in. With that cloud cover overnight, tomorrow will be a little bit warmer in the morning and afternoon.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Springfest and Ego Days are here at Lowe's. Right now, get a free Select Ego 56-volt battery with purchase of a Select Ego trimmer, blower, or mower kit. Lowe's, they help you save. Offer valid through 4/2. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Make us the #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, that's it. Toll free, 877-927-6969. Thanks for being with us here, Florida Talk Real Estate on Real Radio on a Saturday, March 22nd. It's about 48 minutes remaining on this Saturday. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. He'll dial you in there if you call that toll-free number. He'll get you on the radio. How you doing, my dude?
Hello. Doing well. How are you, Johnny?
Awesome. Locker Room Live today, yes?
Yes, I will, at 12.
At 12. So
Yeah.
we're doing a little...
Panthers Insider right after us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds like an excellent Saturday plan. Thanks for locking into Real Radio. Johnny C is me. AJ Holman is with us on this Saturday. He's with experienceappraisers.com. Always good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Pleasure. And Jimmy D is our fearless leader. I've told you for 13 plus years now that he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. The Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovations is where you'll find him. Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Just want to do a shout out to Jay. I helped him sell a house. You might be calling in, AJ, for a question later. But I helped him sell a house way back in the day, like 10 years ago. Then his mom needed to buy a home last year. Helped her mom get a great home up in St. Lucie. She's really happy with it in Port St. Lucie. And now he's looking for another home. So I'm going to be out there shopping with him next week. So thanks, Jay, for trusting our team to do number 3 for you. Transaction number 3. I really appreciate that.
I think during the break, Jimothy did number 3 in his pants.
Yeah, twice.
It was a 4.
So is that a number 6?
That's why.
That's number 6.
I had the time.
Just wanted to do the shout out for that. So thank you so much for trusting us to get you your new home. We're doing exactly what we talked about with the buyers right now. He called me up and he said, Jimmy, I want a deal, right? He goes, I want a deal. I know they're out there because he knew what was happening when we looked at his mom's properties a year ago. So the same type of houses we were looking at last year in St. Lucie, it looks like he can get them for $25,000 to $50,000 less this year in the same neighborhoods.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah, which I was very surprised about. Now, I'm not sure conditions going to be exactly the same because we haven't gone out. Before we continue, I just wanted, since we're talking a little bit about St. Lucie, just want to tell you what's happening there. Sales are down pretty low in St. Lucie. This time last year, 425 sales, single-family homes in the month of February. This February, only 374, a 12% decrease. That's in St. Lucie, guys. Median sales price is held tight year over year, $390. Median price for days on market, 95%. 60 days time to contract, when has St. Lucie County had longer days to contract than Palm Beach County? Right? St. Lucie's always been super, super strong for that because of pricing, because of affordability. Average home up there, 390. A median home up there, 390. Medium home down here, 647.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's way more affordable.
Yeah, so you usually see them go much faster. Pending sales are a little higher than closed, 474 for new pending sales. And supply of inventory. We've had do we have somebody? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
keep your thought.
Supply of inventory 6.1. This is the first county out of the 6 counties I check every month that finally slid into the
6 month
buy neutral market. Technically, it's slightly, ever so slightly,
over
a buyer's market because it's
Right.
6.1. Right? So St. Lucie County right now is in a solid buyer's market. If you're looking to buy, it's going to be very easy to find people that are going to work with you if you have the right realtor and you really have a plan to map out how you're going to do it.
And I used to do a lot up in St. Lucie. I don't so much anymore. But the thing to remember up there is when you start hitting oversupply in St. Lucie, it's for the most part one congruent submarket. The South St. Lucie, Mid St. Lucie is all the same. It's we call it the spaghetti bowl, right?
Yep.
It's just random streets.
Yep.
Whereas here, if you're in downtown Lake Worth and you go 5 blocks north, 5 blocks south, it's all different.
That's true.
But up there, if somebody's looking for a 3-2, they don't. When you're looking for somebody up there, do they tell you I want to be, south of Becker? Or I want to be.
Once in a while, we'll get that, right? Once in a while, they want to be in the north part, the central part, or the south part, right?
Right. But those are big areas.
Yeah, but they're huge areas, and you're not saying I want to be in this community or that community or things like that. So
exactly.
It is.
So an oversupply there hits you harder, I think, because you've got so many options. Just like we were talking about with Sandalwood.
And
I totally wish I was in the market for a 3-2 pool home in Port St. Lucie.
Right.
Yeah.
My gosh, is there a lot to choose from in there? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are newer builds, a lot of 2005-ish,
So being a buyer in St. Lucie County right now is not a bad time to be a buyer. It's the strongest county right now statistically. What did you say?
Lies, damn lies, and statistics.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So statistically speaking, it's the best of all the counties, the 6 counties, to be a buyer right now. But sellers. Okay.
You want to throw the brakes on that
I'm
thought?
sorry, I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. So
thank
remember,
you.
sellers.
Yes.
That's where you going next. All right.
Good luck.
What do you got there, Jimmy?
Well, this might tie right into it. So Clyde called in, and he's looking for some suggestions for anybody that doesn't make a whole lot of money and possibly some down payment assistance type programs.
Perfect.
Clyde, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
How you doing?
Hey, Clyde.
Hi, Clyde.
Doing?
Good, man. Welcome.
Yes. I listen to you guys every Saturday when I can.
Thank you.
And I always listen to try to see if you guys have any advice for people that don't make a whole lot of money, like maybe like 50 grand or less. And they try to figure out what kind of loans, if it's PA loan or FHA or USD, like what kind of loan they can qualify for. That they can still qualify to buy a house. Or maybe like foreclosures and stuff like that. Do you have any advice?
Yes, we do, Clyde. Thank you for calling. This is a very common question with all the affordability issues. So let's do down payment assistance first, because that's the easy part. Okay. So as long as you can qualify for an FHA, VA, or conventional loan, especially if you don't have a super high income, you're almost guaranteed to get one of 2 down payment assistance programs. One is all year long, and the other one is only for a short period of time. I'm actually writing a newsletter that's coming out on Monday talking about down payment assistance programs and why you should get ready now to get ready for the July big jump. So all year long, you can get what's called the Florida Bond Program. I think Mike Gravel would tell me that that's not the real name, but that's what I always call it. I made up my own name, Florida Bond Program, where you can get up to $10,000, Clyde, for down payment and closing costs and prepaids, right? So the state will give you $10,000. You don't include it as part of your mortgage. You don't pay interest on it. The only catch is is that if you ever sell the home, refinance the home, get out of that mortgage, you're obligated to pay back the $10,000 that the state gave you, so they can put it back in the funds and give it to somebody else.
Interest free though.
Interest free. You don't pay any interest on it, so it's like free money until you have to sell the home, and then you have to give the money back. Now, the better program is the Hometown Heroes program. That comes out July 1st. With the Hometown Heroes program, you can get up to $35,000 to help pay for your down payment and closing costs. But Mike Rao from the mortgage firm will tell you that in real life, you're probably looking max 20 to 25,000, because when you get to a certain price point, you're not going to qualify for the loan, even though the numbers are there. So you can get double or more than double if you wait for the July program. But here's the catch. The program, it's been around for, I think, 3 years now. That program only lasts about 10 weeks long, maybe 12 weeks long, like 3 months, and then it's gone. Because the state puts $100 million into the account, and as soon as that money is used, the program ends until the next year. So we're already getting our buyers that are thinking of buying this summer. We've already got them qualified to get the loan, set their budget, set them up on a search so that they can know what the properties are out there that are in their budget, so that at the end of April, we're actually going to get in the car and look for properties. Then we're going to put them under contract, but not close until after July 1st. That way they can get the $10,000 and be first in line, because their house is already under contract, first in line to apply. What you don't want to do is start July 20th.
I was just going to say,
right?
That,
Start July 20th, get your mortgage all ready. Then we got to go find the house. And by the time you find the house, the money might be gone.
And I always like to throw this in too, Clyde. It's even if you're like, oh, I got plenty of money saved up. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. But let's still try to get that, because keep your money and use other people's money, right, whenever possible, especially when it's free money.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a wonderful opportunity for folks that are, if the real hurdle is savings for closing and down payment, that is a wonderful assist from the state with a couple of opportunities, as you noted. But you got to have a professional to lead you in the right way, get you qualified, understand your numbers, get you applied appropriately and in the right timeline. It all matters. Of course, the pros here at Florida Talk Real Estate can help you every step of the way.
Thank you. And Clyde, so as far as loans, FHA and VA and USDA are the low down payment loans. So with FHA, you're going to put 3.5% down for the loan. VA, if you're a veteran, you put down 0% for the down payment. And USDA loan, which anybody can get as long as you're in the right part of a county, you can get this loan. That's also a 0% down payment. Now, USDA, it's really, we only know of it being used mostly right now in Martin County. And we used to be able to buy townhomes and condos with USDA in Martin County. Mike has told me that before. I haven't done it.
Okay.
So that might still exist, where you can get a 0% down payment townhome, for example, in Martin County, even if you're not a veteran. So you can use those loan down payment programs. Those are another ability. Now, Mike has way more down payment programs than what we're talking about. Mike just did one where there was a couple on a very fixed income, and they got $70,000 for the down payment from the state of Florida.
Substantial.
That program is very difficult. Yeah. It's a very difficult program, and it took that family almost a year and a half to go through the process to get the money and close.
But they probably needed it, and it was worth that year and a half.
They would have never bought a house without that program. They would never have bought the house.
Now FHA.
Okay.
FHA makes you keep PMI, mortgage insurance, for the life of the loan. Do the others have that as well?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a Mike question.
Yeah.
So now the last thing I want to tell you, Clyde, because you asked a really important question, and I really appreciate it, because there's so many people out there like you. The other thing is, in order to reduce costs, a lot of people want to look at condos, and because condos are so much cheaper than single family homes. But one thing you have to know, the condo has to meet certain federal regulatory guidelines, or you're going to have to put a huge down payment mandatory for those places, 25%, 30% down for condos. as opposed to 3.5% to 0% down for a townhome. So a lot of people I push to townhomes because of the low down payment. But if we can find a condo that meets that criteria, you can put down low down payment loans on condos, but they're very far between.
Yeah, they're pretty rare.
Yeah.
I almost never had FHAs on condos, you know.
If you were to buy, Clyde, what area would you buy in?
Usually, a lot of like me and my friends, we're looking for areas that's affordable. Like it's not particular, but it's affordable, you know.
So that in this area down here, that would probably be St. Lucie County, also Okeechobee. You know, Okeechobee is becoming an area that people are turning to for affordability. It's basically West Martin County, if you think about it. Right.
Yeah.
Really, it's just due
just
west
a lot of farmland in
just
between.
a lot of farmland. It's more country out there. It's more old Florida, if you will. But a lot of people are moving out there for affordability, and you can get a lot of value, including land. You can get a lot larger piece of property out there for the same price as you'd pay it, let's say, in Palm Beach County or Martin County. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, Clyde, without any pressure of us trying to make you do anything, but if you want to just be educated, all you got to do is give us a call, 888-973-7828, or you could just go to floridatalkrealestate.com and then click on the button to contact us there, and we'll call you and go through everything step by step.
Okay, thank you. That's very great news because I always wonder, like, we hear about buying houses, but it's hard to navigate what you need to do, and there's a lot of bad information online, you know.
Yeah. That's true.
Always good.
There's a lot of information. It's just hard to know what part of it's good and what part of it's trash.
Yeah, exactly.
I would recommend reaching out to the team. The first place you want to start is a conversation with Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Get an understanding of your finances, and then you actually have, you know, a goal or an understanding. Maybe he says, "Hey, here's where you're at now. This would be the budget." But that's the first place to start, and then you have something towards work towards if you have some, you know, some pitfalls, some caveats.
All right, thank you. That's great news. I'm glad I was able to ask these questions because sometimes I listen and I don't know how to ask. This is my first time calling.
Oh, don't worry about it. We're just regular people. We're just, you know, we don't bite. We promise we'll give you all the information that you need. I promise, Clyde. Okay.
Clyde, thank you for being with us, man, and look forward to having a conversation with you and see what we can do as far as getting you into a home.
All right, thank you. You guys doing a great job.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Have a great weekend. 877-927-6969, toll free if you'd like to join the program as well.
So I just want to do the little toilet humor
I knew
thing.
you were going to do that because you're smiling again.
I know, because
we had sellers.
Yeah, I know, but we're going to do that after the break. So I'm going to
first.
do the toilet thing, then we'll do sellers after the break because that's going to be like in detail. Okay. So I was reading an article. Now this is Sydney, Australia real estate, but this journalist had a question because they got sent. I guess it's a real estate journalist, and somebody was upset because of what they saw in somebody's bathroom, and they took a picture of it and sent it to the realtor and said, "Can you believe this is happening in $1 million property?" And the picture, it isn't even that insulting. All it has is a piece of 8.5-11 piece of paper taped to the top of the toilet, and it says, "Please don't use toilet. Thank you." And the buyers were totally insulted that was on there, and actually reached out to a journalist to complain. Right. So the journalist took it a different way. She's like, "Why do you even have to put there? Why would you even have to put that sign there? Do people actually use the toilet when they're visiting somebody else's home?"
I think sadly, yes.
Oh yeah, they do, especially if they're pregnant. I don't know if you've ever shown somebody properties when they're pregnant, but
yes,
you got to bring your own roll with you just in case.
I just did that with a couple about a month ago. I forgot about that. She had to use the bathroom like 3 times.
Yeah, the baby's pushing up against the bladder, and you know it's not their fault.
You know, I got to bring toilet paper with me in the car. I don't do that.
You don't do that? Oh,
no,
I've got 2 or 3 rolls in my car right now.
I have to have that.
That's just for you.
I don't like to. I'd rather. What is that? Better to have it, not need it.
Not need it, right?
Yeah, so he keeps it by the gun.
So
exactly.
So the realtor put out there saying, so the journalist put it out there. It's like, how many people are using the bathroom when you're going to go visit properties? And there was an avalanche of people saying that they do it. And it reminded me, you know what I'm thinking about, right? Do you know the story I'm thinking about?
I don't.
Okay, so in Loxahatchee one time, I had this couple, and they had a couple of big dogs and a bunch of kids, and really nice family. And anytime the house was being shown, they would pack the kids and the dogs, and they'd walk across the street like a caravan, right? And walk across the street and watch from the bay window everything that was going across in their home.
Nice.
So they were always funny. Anytime somebody came over, they would text me, "They're here now. They're still here. They're walking around the house." And I'm like, okay, they're giving me updates, everything.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. So, but this time they're like, they're like, "Hey, there's somebody at the house that doesn't look like they're a realtor, right? They don't look like a realtor at all, but my garage door is open and they're inside the house." And I'm like, that's impossible, because if they're getting in through the lockbox, the only person that can get in is a realtor, because we use Supra.
Right.
Well, I was like, well, keep me posted on this. This could be, I go, did you leave your door open? And they're like, no, we locked it. And I go, well, then it's impossible. It has to be a realtor. Maybe it's just like, but they don't look dressed right. I guess the guy was wearing like board shorts and whatever, right? And flip-flops.
I've met a few realtors that fit that description.
I've dressed that way a couple times myself. I've been there. So I was thinking, no big deal. The guy just, maybe he doesn't even have the buyers coming. He's just previewing,
right?
Something like that. So anyway, I get a call back about 20 minutes later. Jim, the guy that was here, he peed all over the floor. Whoa. It's everywhere. He just peed all over the floor. It's almost like he didn't want to pee in the toilet. It's everywhere.
Huh.
And, and they're calling me. And I don't really know what to do. This is the first one for me, right? So they were pretty mad, though, right? And I don't blame them. So they had to clean it all up and the mess up, and they were pretty mad. So I felt I had an obligation to call the realtor.
For sure.
Yeah.
And talk to them. And I called up the realtor, and of course he denied everything, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't know, maybe you have a health condition or something.
Right. There could be
reasons for this, but even
not for not cleaning it up, but
yeah, but you should have cleaned it up. I was trying to be nice to him, to give him an out.
Yeah.
I go, but you should have cleaned up the mess, And he's like, I swear I didn't do it. I'm like, look, I was on the phone while you were showing the property, because they didn't think you were a realtor,
right?
Because of the way you were dressed, right. And your buyers didn't show up, right? The buyers didn't show up too. And he goes, well, the buyers weren't going to come. I was going to preview it. Cool,
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But he denied up and down, sideways, that he did not pee.
You're like, dude, you got to twist the novel to stream. Get it off a fan.
I know, right?
Spray whatever you got.
Do something. But that was a very embarrassing conversation. I hated that.
Probably not a good idea.
Sorry. Hey,
P. You say P.
That's I could say that word.
Yeah.
I haven't been blocked, I think, in 10 years.
Been a while.
It's been a while.
There's at least 3 different versions of that word, though, so you're good.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's the weird part about it.
Yeah,
right. It really is strange how
the
context around it can make or break whether you
sure.
say the word.
We could say some horrible things in the right context.
Still in 2025.
Yep.
Yes. This
amazing.
is still a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Absurdity.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to, what I do now is, if the house is vacant, I tell the owners to wrap cellophane.
I was going to mention
over the top of the tank, over the seat, and then the bowl itself, so you can't lift it.
April Fools?
No, they do that. No, they do that when they.
Yeah.
If they don't notice, that could be a problem. Yeah.
No, I do it on top of the seat, not underneath the seat. So you don't open it and then just go and do it.
And that's not that uncommon. It doesn't look bad. There's a lot of property management companies that do that.
And I highly recommend you do that when you have an empty house, and also try to shut off the valve at the toilet bowl so it doesn't flush. But that could be a bigger problem
backfire
sometimes.
on you.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Oh, when we were doing short sales and foreclosures, oh my God, the houses that you would walk in and how disgusting they were. They were so bad.
Everybody was pissed on the way out.
And
see, right there, I used it again.
And they, and a lot of times you had vagrants in there and stuff. You didn't know what the heck was going on, so you had to be really careful. Let's go ahead and take a break. On the flip side, we're going to talk about sellers and what's happening with sellers in today's market. We talked about the buyers, and now we're going to talk about the sellers.
Excellent. 4 minutes, we'll be back at it. And we're going to have a real abbreviated segment for you, but you're always welcome to join us, 877-927-6969. But your real resource, the access to the entire team, pros, experts in their field is FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Of course, you can find it on Facebook and YouTube. Florida Talk Real Estate is king, but that .com is your access to the entire team. Again, when you're buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, you need any kind of pro that's involved in the world of real estate, remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate. It's Real Radio.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at RealRadio921.com.
Hey, Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their
put a
house
little thing together so I can
and
send it to
buyers
the lady?
get great deals on the purchase.
I
of their
know she
home.
was looking
That's what
2
they
years
did for
ago.
me
I
and my
haven't talked to her
family,
for
and I
2
couldn't be
years, so I
happier
don't
that I
know
hired
what's
them
happening.
for
I
my
know she
real
didn't
estate
buy anything
transaction.
yet, but I know
Mike
she
Rao
was
from the
looking really
mortgage
hard.
firm is
I
one of
met
our
her at a
favorite guests on
retreat.
the
She
show,
was
and
the
he
person
is
that
the
ran the
mortgage
retreat.
guy. Whether
But
you're
what
looking
she
for a
does, she rents
refi or
out
a mortgage to
hotel
purchase a new home,
to
Mike
do it.
Rao will get you the
And
answers you
she's
need.
looking
The
for a
mortgage firm
compound.
is
And
licensed to
I
do
showed her
loans
some
in
stuff
Florida,
in a different
Alabama,
area, but
Tennessee,
she
and
said she
Georgia,
wanted to be
and they have
closer to
local
South
offices that
Carolina.
cover all of South
So
Florida.
right
So if
there.
you're thinking about a
Because
refi
my
or a
parents lived
mortgage,
in Murphy.
go to the mortgage guy,
Yeah,
Mike Rao,
right
and
around
find
the
out what he
corner
can
from you,
do for
right?
you. The Mortgage Firm Inc. NMLS 1892333. Florida license MLD 78. Equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company.
Yeah.
When you need a title company to
And
complete
man,
a
they are
refi,
clicky up
home
there, aren't they?
purchase, or sale,
They're very
Trident
clicky up there
Title has
because
got
everybody
you
knows
covered.
everybody.
Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance.
Yeah, bring it.
Haven't
Yeah,
checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and
maybe
auto
Sandra will
insurance.
like it then.
Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because FloridaTalkRealEstate.com has you covered. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
You've been hyper about it.
Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anna Jar and
send it
Levine
over to me and
Accident
see what
Attorneys at
Angela has to tell us.
1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool. Oh, wow.
Radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
Just about 20 minutes remaining on this Saturday for us to squeeze in some entertainment for you.
This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
That's it. Just about 20 minutes remaining on this Saturday for us to squeeze in some infotainment for you. Johnny C, that's me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire.
Hello, and good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Happy South Florida, everybody. What a beautiful day out. It was beautiful yesterday, too. I hope it stays this way today. I kind of liked it, though. I kind of felt refreshing. It felt refreshing. You're so Florida.
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Happy South Florida, everybody.
That's right.
You was beautiful yesterday, too. I hope it stays
It's a
this
little
way
chilly
today.
yesterday, though.
I kind of liked it, though. I kind of felt
I liked it
refreshing.
for a day.
It felt refreshing.
You're so Florida.
Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah.
That was freezing.
That's
That's right. You like it. You like it hotter for sure, right?
Man, we they do a College Park in Royal Park. Royal Palms. They do like a every other Friday, like a band. That's fun. Prince tribute. It was phenomenal. They were great. But I'm out there. I got a little Florida Gator warm up for the basketball team, and I'm rocking shorts and flops.
Oh, I'm wearing a jacket. So what do I know?
And by the time they were done at 9 o'clock,
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah.
and it's freezing in here today too. And I know they keep it like an icebox in the studio, but it's freezing in here.
You're cold today? Oh, I'm wearing a jacket.
Oh,
What
I'm
do I
fine
know?
today.
Are you good?
Well, I got two
Oh, they're saying a longer winter?
Up a little bit.
I forgot you told me, yeah.
I'm ready for the heat. For
Not
sure.
done yet.
But remember,
Yeah.
Tony Phil told us we're gonna have a longer winter. It's what are we,
Just a
third
couple
day of
shout outs.
spring?
We talked
Officially.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're saying a longer
winter.
winter?
Do a
Bucks and
shout out.
Tony.
I forgot you
Yeah,
told me.
Phil
Yeah.
came out. He's like, we're gonna
Not
have
done yet.
2 more weeks of winter.
Can't argue with Phil.
Yeah, Phil's
condo in Green
nailed it.
Acres. Thank you so much for trusting us. We've gone through
Just a
pretty
couple
much
shout outs.
everything right now, just ready to
Tell her a
close.
couple more
And
shout
also,
outs. Just
John
wanted
and
to do a
Joanna,
shout out to
we
Carrie,
sold
Sammy, and
their
Charlotte.
Aberdeen property in that
We
membership
sold
only.
their
Membership
55 and
equity
over
only,
condo in Green
placement
Acres.
only.
Thanks
You
so
had
much
to pay
for trusting us.
$65,000
We've
just to become
gone
a member
through
of the
pretty much
community.
everything right now, just
On
ready
top
to
of
close.
everything
But
else, so
also
we got that
John
under
and Joanna.
Yeah,
We
help
sold
straight
their
out to lift
Aberdeen
up.
property in
And
that membership only.
we got it done right
Membership
before
equity
season
only
ended. So
place in
sigh of
Boynton.
relief. I was getting a
You
little
had to pay
nervous. We had like about a
$65,000
month
just to
and
become a
after
member
that, it was
of
gonna be
the
pretty
community.
So I'm glad we
On
got
top
that
of
under
everything else,
contract.
but we
Helps
got
weed
that
out
Guys,
the
everybody
riffraff.
for trusting
Yeah,
us.
helps straight out the
Now,
riffraff.
part
And
of the thing in order to get
we
houses
got it
sold,
done right
because I'm
before
being very
season
real.
ended.
I'm always
So
real here.
sigh of relief. I was getting a
My
little nervous.
next
We had
7
like
houses
about a
coming up
month,
to
and
close.
then after that, it was going
Let
to be
me
pretty
read your
sure.
days
So
on
I'm glad we
market.
got that under
8,
contract.
12,
Thank you guys,
15,
everybody, for trusting us.
83,
Now, part of the
87,
thing in order to get houses sold,
110,
because I'm being very real, I'm always real here.
209 days on market.
My next 7
Okay.
houses coming up to close.
Pricing is very
Let me
important.
read you
Most
days
of the
on
ones
market: 8, 12,
I can't.
15,
Oh, there you
83,
go.
87.
Like what we were talking, I'm
110,
looking at them right now, and frankly,
209
AJ,
days
when
on
we
market.
were talking
Okay.
last night about
Pricing is very important.
it's very
Most
common.
of the
You put a house
ones
on
that,
the market,
well, I can't really.
you get a price, you accept it. Let's say it's lower than list price. Then that buyer,
Like what we were talking, I'm looking at them right now,
Buyers
and
don't
frankly,
close
AJ,
when we
when we
have
were
a buyer
talking
this
last
year,
night about, this
as
is very
opposed to
common. You put a house on the
and then
market,
a new buyer comes and
you
they
get a
don't like
price,
the
you
price,
accept it.
even though
Let's say
you had
it's lower
another
than list
buyer
price.
under
And that
contract for that
buyer
price,
doesn't
no problem.
close. 'Cause I've had
And
a
now
lot of
you're
buyers
trying
that
to
don't
fight to get
close,
the
and we
most
had
money
to
you
go
can
find
for the
another
house.
buyer this year.
And it
That's been
can
another
become a
trend
little
I've
bit
gone
of a
through
bloodbath.
as a listing agent.
You've seen
And
that a
then the
couple
new
of
buyer
times right now
comes,
too, right,
and
AJ?
they don't like the price, even though you had another buyer under contract for that price, no problem. and now you're trying to fight to get the most money you can for the house, and it can become a little bit of a bloodbath. You've seen that a couple of times right now too, right, AJ?
Yeah, and I always tell people, because a lot of people get appraisals because they're getting ready to sell, and I always tell them, here's my appraised value, and then I go over a pricing strategy. Start here, maybe reduce it by this much this time period. So much of it comes down to
50 days in Palm Beach County, 60 days in St. Louis.
You want to sell this thing, and usually they're like, well, we're not much of a rush. We got a couple months. Okay, well, you got 30 days then, because you need to get it under contract, and then they've got to get their loan, and then they've got to, and 30 days is pretty fast.
30 days in Palm Beach County, 60 days in St. Lucie.
I mean, really, for me, historically, and again, over 20 years appraising in Palm Beach County, the vast majority of the time, the normal marketing time's been 50 to 70 days, like in that range,
right,
as long as it's under 90. And even the lenders on the appraisals, if it's over 90, they want to know why. So that tells you right there that that's a big break. You know what I mean? But so it really comes down to the motivation level of the seller. And as well as I do, sometimes you start it at one price, and then all of a sudden the seller has a reason. They're like, oh, we need to get rid of this now.
Or they're really unrealistic of what they expect. So I do this with them now. We got a caller, so we're going to go to it in just a second. But what I do a lot of times, I'll look at you and go, oh, okay, AJ, so let's say it takes 30 days to sell the property. And I look at your face and you go, no problem. And I go 60 days. And you go, oh, no problem. I go 100 days.
Yeah.
Right. And then they flinch and they go, okay, that's where you're at. And I go, but I still don't believe it's 100 days. I go, are you going to be the kind of person when I put it on the market 2 weeks later is like, how come my house isn't sold?
Right.
Because if that's true and there's nothing wrong with that, I need to know that now, because that's going to determine help on pricing of what we need to do.
Because it's a lot harder to catch up to that later.
If you make a mistake, it's much harder to correct it than being more conservative and then adjusting later in a positive way for you. I'd like to talk more, but let's go ahead and take the call, Johnny.
Let's do it. Who we got there, Jimothy?
You said Jay was going to call in, and Jay's on the air with us now. Jay, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
What's going on, boys? It's been a minute since we've all talked.
Yeah, Jay, how's it going, man? You doing good?
Well, you know how I'm doing, Jim. I'm doing good, man.
Jay's doing good. Now, I told Jay to call because AJ, experienceappraisers.com, is here, and Jay is going to be using what's called a DSCR loan, and I don't remember what it stands for anymore, but it's going to be based not necessarily on the value of the home, but on the rental
income
he can make on that.
Right.
And what Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is doing this loan for Jay, and he said that we have to get 100% of the mortgage payment paid by rent. So I'm looking for properties that are going to do that for him.
Right.
So Jay had a bunch of questions about the type of home that he's looking for. So go ahead, Jay. Ask AJ whatever you want.
Thanks, Jim. A DSCR, basically, you probably already know this, AJ. It's a debt service cover ratio loan. So, like Johnny said, it's basically the debt for the mortgage has to be covered by any potential rental income on the property.
Right.
AJ, my question to you is, well, I think Mike covered the potential transient rentals. Like if I decided at some point to make it a VRBO, blah blah blah. Mostly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Appraisers are looking mostly at long-term, more secure type of
yeah, we usually base it on annual
comps, right? Rental comps,
right?
I was also wondering for the rental comps. Okay, so I've seen several. So obviously, I need to keep my the house price as low as possible. So I've been leaning towards a couple of properties in a couple of neighborhoods that I like, close to my mom's house that Jim just helped me buy. What was it, about 6 months ago, Jim?
Yes, actually it was May. It was May last year. It'll almost be a year.
Oh wow!
Yeah, May 24th. Yes, it does. May 24th.
Having fun? That's a question mark. question really is, so I've seen several 2-2s with a den that could easily be converted to a third bedroom. So the specific question is, if I see a 3-3, okay, that's 1,500 square foot, okay, but I can spend less on a 2-2 that's 1,500 square foot that also has a den. How can that compare? I mean, can an appraiser use square footage if it has a den as a comparable, rental amount to a potential 3-3?
No, I gotcha. So, and this is in St. Lucie?
Yes.
And the reason I ask is number one, it depends on the submarket. Okay. So if you're in a neighborhood where people regularly use dens as functionally bedrooms, then an appraiser might do that with no problem. But because there's so many comps available in St. Lucie, why would you? Like, he's going to want to go to the 2 bedrooms if he can find them 2 bedrooms with dens, but he is going to look under, or he or she, they're going to look under the living area and the age and the location. What I would consider doing is, and you've got to talk to your lender to find out if you can, make the appraisal subject to turning the den into a bedroom. Because like you said, if all it needs is a closet, then, if the lender will allow him, the appraiser can do it as though that closet exists already. And then you can just make sure you put the closet in, and then, maybe they hold some money back and escrow for you to put in a closet. I don't know. It depends on the lender. Mm-hmm. The appraiser, he's going to stick to 2 bedrooms with dens if he's in St. Lucie, because there's so many comps. So then why wouldn't he?
And how would an appraiser know? Sorry, Jay, I just wanted to follow up a question with what he said. How would the appraiser know if the den was being used as a third bedroom if you're just looking at the MLS? I don't think you'd be able to figure that out.
No, it's more about the neighborhood and knowing the neighborhood.
Okay.
If I'm, sorry, but if you're in the hood, they're not going to care. You know what I mean? It's more about the functional size and all of that. It's harder to do when it's a hard thing to pull out of research in the moment. But that's where hopefully the appraiser is familiar enough with the community and the submarket to already know when he walks in there what the neighborhood.
What I was telling Jay, because I haven't used one of these loans in a while, so I haven't done the comps this way in a while, was that I felt it would be safer if he looked for 3 or 4 bedrooms, because the differential in the rent for having a 4-bedroom versus a 2-bedroom. You know what I mean?
Problem with that is, there's only so much capital I'm going to be able to use down this type of a loan. And putting me in a 4-bedroom, and most of these 3 bedrooms that I've already been looking at already prices me out of the market.
Right. Well, I would talk to your lender to explain it to him. Say, look, there's I'm looking at 2s with dens. I can throw a closet in there. I can convert it to a bedroom pretty easily and cheaply. Can the appraisal be written as a 3-bedroom subject to me doing that?
All right, Jim, you got your crayon there?
Yep.
I'll talk to Jim. I'll talk to him after the
Mike.
show.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got everything you said, Jay. So we're going to talk to Mike on Monday. It's his birthday weekend, Jay. So we'll talk to Mike on Monday.
Yeah.
And we'll jump on that to find out. And what other questions do you have, Jay?
That was the big one, Jim, because we obviously know that because we're specifically targeting this type of a loan. I mean, thankfully the market has a lot to offer us, but again, just because I'm what I'm looking for, I have to I have to narrow my search a little bit, just because the DSCR loan, if nobody knows, is basically assuming you have good credit, you can get these loans fairly easily. However, it's going to require a lot more capital down. It's not as bad as like a hard money loan where the interest rate is a lot higher, but there's still the requirement that you have to come down with at least 20%, and the closing costs are much more expensive than a conventional loan. So you're putting more money up front. Oh, and the other caveat is too, there are prepayment penalties on these types of loans. Now I don't know how many different DSCR products there are, but because of my situation, this is the type of loan that makes getting into a house a little bit easier for me. But I think, AJ, that was the main question. I just, I was more concerned about what are my options as far as getting the appraisal. Now, if there is, I guess the sub question to that would all be, if the appraisal doesn't come back at the numbers where I need to, am I able to get an adjustment of sorts?
It's very hard. I did one a few years ago for a client, but it's the only one I've ever heard of somebody getting the bank to go and change it. It's extremely, and it's only because I'm an appraiser and I put a month into it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the good thing is, I mean, I've dealt with Mike, as you know, Jim, before, and the good thing about the mortgage firm is that they're a broker lender as well. So Mike, being one of their former underwriters, he pretty much has the
He knows how to navigate them.
He knows how to navigate all their products and the loans very well. So that's, I'm confident that Mike would have steered me in that direction if he didn't know he could manage it. So
right.
The rest is on us, Jim.
Yep, for sure. Jay, I'm gonna let you go because we got like 3 minutes left, and I just wanted to wrap up because somebody commented on your stuff. There was a guy named Hayden, AJ, who said closets do not define bedrooms. Size and egress usually do.
Well, there's actually, if you go to my website, experiencedappraisers.com, and there's a frequently asked question in there about what makes a bedroom in Florida. It's my most common frequently asked question. There's legalities there. He's right. There's size. There's a bunch of factors. What I said was, if it's as easy as throwing a closet in there.
Right. No, and I wasn't. I wasn't.
No, I know.
You. Yeah, I'm
no,
just saying this.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's important because everybody thinks it's the closet. It's got to have the right window.
It's got to have an exterior wall for that window so that people get out of there in emergency. There's different criteria, and it's on the website. People
and the window has to be a certain height so you can crawl out of it.
It's actually kind of poorly defined.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there's some guidelines. But yeah.
So
I thought the state of Florida size doesn't matter, Jim.
Does in my house.
That's not what she says. Anyway, Jay, have a great one, man. We're gonna have to get going in a second, I think, right, Johnny?
Yeah, real soon. Appreciate you being out there, brother. We'll be in contact real soon, and I'm sure this is gonna come together for you nicely. Have a great weekend, Jay. Appreciate you very much.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know where we were.
You got 2 minutes.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna talk about sellers next week. But the bottom line is, in my opinion, since we only got like 2 minutes, price to me is everything right now. Price based on your condition.
Being realistic about what your house is.
Yeah, so if you've got a Super Mac Daddy home, you can go for it, right? We're not telling you to hold back if you got Super Mac Daddy, but based on what you're getting in that neighborhood, you'll probably get the top end of what people are paying in that neighborhood. But if your house isn't Super Mac Daddy and you put it at a Super Mac Daddy price, you're going to get really not Mac Daddy results is what you're going to get. You're going to be
in the
sitting
market
there.
or on the market.
Right.
And people admit this to me all the time, but people have a very bad habit of seeing the best in their house and not the worst.
But what was that thing you told me?
A perfect example. I had a woman dead serious. This was like 15 years ago, but she was serious. She was being sincere. Walked me out her back door. There's an overpass directly backing the turnpike. Just vroom, 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 vroom. And she smiled, looked at me and said, "Look, I have no rear neighbors." And she was dead serious, And so people just, you might like it, but it doesn't mean the market necessarily reacts that way.
She's hired for my advertising crew. I was joking that she does have neighbors. They're just very temporary.
You got a 200,
and he was
neighbors.
saying you have 236,000 neighbors a day.
Yeah.
That's white noise.
Yeah,
exactly.
White noise. Yeah.
The white noise puts me to sleep
from the
at
Blues
night.
Brothers. How often does that train go by? So often you won't even notice.
And then I didn't remember that line. That's a funny line.
Yeah.
So it's really price sensitive market right now. No kidding around. And if you miss the market, you're going to know because your house is going to sit there. You're not going to have anybody come into the house. And they're not going to come out and then This is the big mistake sellers make. Well, if I'm overpriced, they'll just turn in an offer that's lower.
No, they won't.
They won't even come to the house to look at the house.
Yeah.
And then if they do come to the house and they feel it's really overpriced, they won't even try to make an offer because they think that the seller is unrealistic and it won't be accepted.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being with us on a Saturday. Always remember, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. When you're buying a home, selling a home, you're stuck with a home and don't know what to do. If you have anything that touches the world of real estate and you need professional guidance, remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Pros. These are experts in their field. You get them all at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Like AJ Holman, ExperienceAppraisers.com. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, sir. You too.
You taking a digital bath with Deftones tonight?
What?
That's a no.
Okay.
Jimmy